Hey everyone, the name is Erik, and earlier I saw a really interesting video on YouTube on INTJ and INFP coffee on time perception and how we experience time. And time psychology is actually super fascinating because time, believe it or not, is one of the key stressors in our lives. Time affects us all psychologically, and our perception of time and our experience of time and how we use and perceive time can affect how we experience our life and our general well-being and our own happiness and everything about our situation and our experience. The thing about time and the time psychology is, the question is, can we even experience time? Do we even know that time is passing? I think in flow, when you're in a state of flow, time is not experienced at all, and I think that's the goal. To not have to think about time and to not always have time hanging over your shoulder, to not always keep a clock on you wherever you're going, to not always know what time it is, to not always know what day it is. You know, in these times when you have a lot of holidays, during New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, all those things, I think it's hard to know even what day it is. And actually, I think that's the key. I think to not feel time on you as a burden, that is the key for all personalities and for all personality types. So I think that the different types perceive time differently and experience the flow of time differently. You know, some believe we only experience truly the present, that the present is the only real thing, that everything else is a fabrication. History cannot be reproduced accurately. We cannot accurately know what we did yesterday or what we did the day before that. The further back we go, the more distorted our perception of time becomes, and we remember things differently. We remember Mondays as lasting longer than Tuesdays, and we remember Sundays as being some of the longest days. We remember Fridays as passing by quickly. We remember Saturdays as small blurbs. You know, did we even have a Saturday? Where did it go? What did we do with it at all? So our perception of time is very fragmented and truly depends on meaningful experiences. The more meaningful or the more fun we have, the faster time seems to travel. And of course, the more bored we are, the slower it tends to pass. So what I believe is, in stress, every minute of time is experienced as like a painful twinge, you know. We talk about when we are in stress that we have lost time, that we have used or wasted time. In stress, it's, I don't have enough time, I need more time. Oh, it's too much, it's too fast, it's too slow. We experience time as something negative, something that can be used up or wasted or thrown away. But in flow, I think that all that goes away. So different personality types experience time differently, and as a simplification, you can say that true judging types believe time is something that can be organized and arranged from a straight, coherent line from this point to that point to that point. Time has a direction and a shape and a place it is going towards, it headed towards. Perceivers, however, see time as something that can be bent and adjusted and played with. When you say we meet up at 4 can mean anything. It can mean 4:15, it can mean 3:45, it can mean 4 the next day. It can mean different things. Time is never set in stone. Time can go anywhere at any moment. Time can go this way and suddenly that way and then that way. Time cannot be controlled, cannot be organized, cannot be arranged. We can try, but it will only bring us stress. For the introvert, time, interestingly enough, is something that can be conserved or saved. That's kind of an interesting notion, but introverts believe that time can be conserved and held back and saved and stored for the future. We can wait and hold back and stay a while and think about it for a bit. And we don't have to use up time. We can simply hold back and access it later on whenever we want to. We can go back and access it and go back to it as we wish. For extroverts, time is something that can be found in the world around you. You can go out and find time. You can find another hour. You can find another thing to do, and if you find something to do with the time you have, and you can, if you sit back, time is lost and it just washes over you and it just disappears. So that's a very difficult thing when you're an extrovert. I think the perceiving type sometimes believes that time can be avoided, there are deadlines, there are things that has to be done at a certain time, but if you don't think about them and if you distract yourself and focus on something else, time can be avoided and you can come back later and no time will pass and have passed, you can go back to it and it will all be good, Often that's sadly not the case. So, yeah, those are all approaches to time, and those are all aspects of how we can experience time and see time. Obviously, you cannot preserve time or hold back time or stop the flow of time. Obviously, you cannot avoid time. You cannot change time. You cannot direct time. You cannot do anything with it. It's just passing. It's just our experience of it that changes. It's just our approach to it that becomes different. And obviously the judging style is perfect for making dates, making arrangements, and shaping and forming your experience and flow and how you experience time and when you are where and what you do and how long you do it. But it does not fundamentally change anything about time itself. And that's the thing we have to accept. I feel that's why in flow we lose our time perception completely, because that's when we stop trying to focus on changing something that cannot be changed. In stress, we are trying constantly to change or stop something that cannot be changed. We're trying to adjust something, fix something, stop something from happening, change the future. We're trying to rewrite something that cannot be rewritten. But in flow, instead our attention is focused on things we can actually change and things we can actually do something about. So in that experience, I feel we go into our flow functions, our strongest functions, and we can fly within that, and we can experience and express ourselves within that, and we can ignore time, and we can stop making a big deal out of it, and stop letting our calendars control our lives, and stop letting our watches tell us what to do and when to do it, and we can just go based on our inner clock and our inner sense of rhythm, because everyone has their inner clock, their inner sense of rhythm. And it is constantly colliding with the outer sense of rhythm. Time passes inside as well as outside, and how it passes inside, according to you, is different from how it passes outside. So other people might have different time perceptions than you do. For them, an easy activity can take a longer time in their head than it will take to you. To you, something that takes no time, well, to other people, feel extremely time consuming. I feel something I've always struggled with is time boundaries, because I've always felt that other people think I have all the time in the world. So people have always been like, Erik, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you explore that? Can you look at that? Can you help me with this? And they always look at me like I'm never doing anything, and I always have to be activated and told what to do. Like if I'm not told to do something, I will not do anything, and I will just sit there and do nothing. But it's of course when I sit there and do nothing that I do the most, and that's just how it is to me personally. I am the most active when I'm sitting still and I'm thinking and I'm writing and being creative. But I feel often other people don't see that as appropriately using or making the most out of time. So I think we also have to recognize that time is and should be approached differently by different types, and everyone has their style and their way of approaching time. And what you consider a waste of time, other people might consider to be truly intelligent or truly fun or truly enjoyable. The classic divider in the MBTI is NE is potential futures or the future. SC is the present. And SI is the past. I believe then that NI is the unknown. It is not the future, it is not the past, it is not the present, but it's everything around there, everything outside of that. It's the unknown, it's all the things that are happening, all the time that is passing that we have no idea of, all those things that we don't even realize, because time is only past, time is only experienced when we think about it. So we can think about the past, we can think about the future, and we can think about the present, but we can also think about everything that's happening outside of that, and everything that happens outside of that scope. And that means time in a universal sense. That means time, what happens to the tree that falls in the woods that nobody sees? What happens in the world that we don't experience? What is the time that we don't know about or don't realize exists, yet is here right in front of us or underneath everything? And that's perhaps a bit abstract to conjure, but it's what time is to an NI type. I feel time is something very strange to an NI type. I feel time is not the same thing as it is to everyone else. And if NE types are always trying to focus on the future, what they're going to do next and different places they're going to visit, and the SI type is always going to focus on the past and what they used to do and what they where they should be and what they plan to do and what they have booked and what they did last week. The NI type is always somewhere else. They're not in the future and they're not in the past. They're not in the present either. So they are rather in some kind of dream world or alternate reality, or they are exploring the physics of time or thinking about or philosophizing on what time is as it in itself, what time means. And yeah, that's the crazy thing about NI. So, thanks everyone for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Do check out INTJ and INFP Coffee for their thoughts on NI and SI and SC and time perception.